Hey guys, I'm already missing y'all, ready for us to be back in school. Today I wanted to kind of recap what we talked about last week as far as atoms go and the structure of matter, and we talked about the parts that make up an atom. The nucleus is the center of the atom, and it's made up of protons and neutrons. And the protons carry a positive charge. The neutrons are neutral, they don't carry a charge. And then the third particle within an atom is the electrons. And the electrons orbit, are in orbits, are electron clouds around the nucleus, and the electrons carry a negative charge, so that helps to balance out the atom itself. So we go from there, and we also talked about some of the scientists who discovered some of those particles. We go to the next step in this, in looking at the periodic table. First of all, the periodic table is made up of elements, and an element is matter that's made up of only one kind of atom. There are 115 known elements. There are 90 naturally occurring elements, and then there are some synthetic elements that have been made by scientists. I had found these periodic tables that I printed out for y'all to use in class because they're colorful. No, seriously, they do have, they are colored by the periods that they are in the table. And if you would like to print out one of these, I'll include a link to it so you can use it while you're at home. Otherwise, you can use the periodic table that's, I don't know if it's the front cover or the back cover, inside cover, back inside cover, periodic table there. Now, in looking at the periodic table, there's a lot of information, and just as I told you last week, you're not going to be required to memorize any of these. I remember when I was in school and I had to learn the first 20 in order and all their information. Can I do it today? Negative, Ghostwriter. So, each element has its own little block, its own little square on the periodic table of elements, and the information that's found there, the number at the top, in looking at this, and yeah, this is probably backwards and I don't know how to flip it. So the little number at the top on this particular periodic table is called the atomic number. That is the number in the elements periodic table block. The second piece of information in this is the atomic, the chemical symbol, and it's usually, in some cases, it's the first letter of the name of the element, and then other times not so much. Like, okay, here's an example. Hydrogen, the chemical symbol is H. For helium, it's He. But then you look at iron, the chemical symbol for iron is Fe. So it's not always the first letter or two letters. Lead is another example. The symbol is Pb. Anyway, the next piece of information on this particular one is the name of the element. So you have the atomic number, you have the symbol, which is the letter or letters, and then you have the name of it. And then the last piece of information is the atomic mass. And let's see, the atomic mass and number, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here it is. The weighted average mass of an atom of an element. That's the atomic mass. Then there are three general groups of elements that are classified by common or similar properties within those. And those are metals, non-metals, and then metalloids. Metals, non-metals, and metalloids. And some of the characteristics of metals, and this is where the majority of the elements fall, they have a shiny luster. They are good conductors of heat and electricity. Most of these are solid at room temperature. They can be shaped, and they can be drawn into wires without breaking. The second group is called the nonmetals. The nonmetals are dull in appearance. They're poor conductors of heat and electricity. Majority of these are gases at room temperature. They're brittle. They can't change shape because they'll just break apart. And nonmetals, 97% of the human body is made up of nonmetals. Yeah, that's too hard to see for me to show you. All right, the metalloids, the third group. These are characteristics of metalloids. On the periodic table, they're found between the metals and the non-metals, so they kind of run down the center, or not in the direct center, but in between those two groups. They have characteristics of both metals and non-metals, but they do not conduct heat and electricity as well as metals. They will conduct, but not as well as metals do. And they are all solid at room temperature. All right, I think that's all I wanted to say on that for today. Tomorrow I will have a video together on how to figure out an atomic number if you're given the number of protons. We'll look more closely at the information there and how to use that information. I'll remember to put a link to this particular periodic table if you would like to print that out to use it. And remember, if you have questions, shoot me a private comment or send me an email. Love to hear from you. Talk to you later.